If I were to say to you that sexual activity outside of marriage is dangerous, how would you respond? Now, having an affair? Most Americans believe that having an affair is wrong, but dangerous? Yep, and that statement isn't just about affairs. It encompasses single people's sexual activity, wrong and dangerous. With those clarifications, what do you think of that statement? Am I right for making it? Am I a dinosaur? In Proverbs 5, Solomon tells us that the path through the bed of anyone other than your spouse will end in ruin, destruction. And I don't really hear anybody saying that today. So is Solomon right? Adultery is a leading cause of divorce in our country, and 16% of Americans have admitted to having an affair. Now, is that destructive? They report that 75% of Americans have had sex before getting married. The average American reports more than 7 partners. At least 10 million people younger than 25 get an STD every year. More than half of all millennial moms are single moms. Is that destructive? Note that I didn't say unforgivable or irrevocable. Destructive, not the outcome you would choose if you had a choice. And that's Solomon's point. We do have a choice. We walk down that path into someone else's bed, so to speak. Solomon specifically talks about being seduced down that path, but ultimately it doesn't matter how we got there. The result is the same. That choice will forever change our life. And Solomon says that when we get to the end of our life, we will lament what could have been. We never appreciate the consequences of our choices until we have experienced those consequences. And Solomon, like any good mentor, would rather that we not have to experience that in the first place. Now you say, I would never do that. My guess is that most of the people who did said the same thing. We must be on our guard, always on our guard. Now, on this side of Jesus, I think we better understand forgiveness and grace and mercy. And so we've heard stories of people who have been down that path of destruction and come out on the other side through humility, repentance, forgiveness, the strong arms of Jesus. There is hope. But wouldn't it be better not to have traveled that path in the first place? But Solomon goes on in chapter 5 to offer a carrot. It's not just don't. All that young people or single people hear is don't, because they're not married. But if you are married, Solomon wants you to enjoy a lifetime of sexual intimacy with your spouse, because God designed us to experience and enjoy that. As private and as personal as this topic is, and it's definitely not something that many Christians are comfortable talking about, it's important. More than 75% of men and 40% of women admitted that sexual dissatisfaction was a leading factor in their decision to start an affair. It doesn't have to be that way. Solomon uses a great illustration. Should your springs be overflowing onto the streets? No. Drink the water from your own well, your own marriage. There are plenty of studies that show that the spark dies out in a relationship, the fire grows cold, but that too is a choice. Sexual intimacy is not the only kind of intimacy, nor is it best by itself. Just as the New Testament calls us to fan the flame of our relationship with Jesus, Solomon calls us to fan the flame of our relationship with our spouse through our physical and our emotional engagement. And there's certainly a lot more to be said about that, and we will soon when we talk about the Song of Songs. But all of that and so much more in our Bible study this Sunday. So take a deep breath and read Proverbs chapter 5. And then go to our church's website, read the comments that I've put together on this. You can find them at the Sunday School tab. And on that page, you will also find an invitation to our Zoom meeting this Sunday morning at 9:30, led by Lindsay Dunn. This topic is tough, but it is so important and it is so valuable. Let's learn about this together.